Some places just refuse to die. Belchite is one of those places. 5,000 souls lost their lives here in just 2 weeks. Welcome to Forgotten Worlds. Today, we look behind the walls of a town where time stood still, in a bloody way, back in 1937. Here the air feels heavy, filled with stories that haven't been told out loud. Every wall, every crack holds a memory. The clock of history was shattered in 1937. Windows, like empty eyes, stare into nothingness. The only sound, the sad sigh of the wind. These are open wounds, carved into the plains of Aragon. People come here like pilgrims of a dark kind, history and horror all at once. In every shadow, in every quiet moment, war feels terribly real. Belchite stands as a monument to pure human tragedy. As the battle raged above, civilians on Calle Mayor fled into the cellars. Their world shrunk to damp, dark rooms, a thin shield of earth and stone between them and the firestorm. What were once cool storage places for wine and supplies became suffocating refuges. The niches where barrels rested now barely offered space for a huddled family. They listened to the endless thunder of explosions and the terrible sound of collapse right above their heads. Every impact made the earth shake and dust rain from the vaults. Safety was a fragile illusion. The air smelled of damp earth, anxious sweat, and unwashed bodies. Days and nights blended into an endless twilight, broken only by the flicker of an oil lamp. Time itself seemed to stand still, trapped in an eternal moment of terror. Food and water became incredibly precious, every sip strictly rationed. Going to the surface for water was a game of life and death. Children learned the brutal lesson of silence. Their crying was stifled, their laughter silenced. Their childhood was lost in the darkness. The noise from above was a relentless torture. Death could break through the ceiling at any moment. Fires on the floors above consumed the precious oxygen, filling the rooms with deadly smoke. Some cellars couldn't withstand the pressure. They collapsed and became instant graves, burying entire families under tons of rubble. This was the quiet, unseen tragedy beneath the visible destruction. Down here, they were not soldiers. They were civilians, caught between two fronts, non-combatants in the merciless crossfire of a civil war. Some shelters became inescapable traps. Collapsed entrances blocked every escape route, sealing the fate of those within. The last moments consisted of darkness, suffocating terror, and the silent plea for a miracle that never came. Here, in the depths, human suffering condensed into the essential naked truth of war. There are no winners, only different degrees of loss. Above, barricades, sniper nests, every house a fortress, and in the end, a grave. It was a siege in the most cruel sense, the systematic destruction, building by building, life by life. When the killing stopped, the city no longer existed. All that remained was a ghost town of shattered stone and painful memories. The lesson of Belchite is burned into the landscape. A conflict consumes not only lives, but also the places that hold them, until only the silence of the dead remains. After the war, Franco made his power even stronger, but instead of healing the country's wounds, he made them worse. He made a rule that said Belchite Viejo could not be rebuilt, ever. It wasn't about keeping things as they were, but a cruel order for endless destruction. The ruins were meant to stay untouched, a big, open wound in the land, never to close. A quiet but very loud cry of stone and dust, meant to remind the country of the high cost of fighting back. This was a planned message, carved in stone. Not sadness for those who died, but the endless win of the government. Every broken wall, every single bullet hole, became a tool to spread their message, showing the absolute power of the winner. Broken churches and empty houses were used as symbols. They were no longer homes for families or places of worship, but trophies in a strange victory march. Right next to the ruins, Belchite Nuevo was built, by the hands of those who lost, by Republican prisoners of war. They had to build the memorial of their own defeat, brick by brick. Useful, neat, without a soul. The winner's idea for buildings. Clean, controlled, without the messy life of the past. A new order built on the graves of the old. The old town, though, holds the sounds of a different time. It grew naturally over hundreds of years, now forever hurt, frozen in the moment it was destroyed. The church of San Martin de Tours, its fancy moudejar details, once hidden inside, are now open to the sky and the weather. A church whose roof is the sky itself. The Arco de la Villa, once a proud gate into a lively town, is now a gate to nothing. A path that no longer leads to streets full of life, but straight into the emptiness of memory. So, two worlds exist side by side. On one side, the forced, controlled life. On the other, the complete, heavy silence of death. A life in the shadow of the past. For the people of Belchite Nuevo, it's a daily meeting with what can't be forgotten, a constant reminder that hangs threateningly over their homes. Belchite became a sad symbol for Spain's broken struggle with its own memory, a problem that hasn't been solved and can be seen in the land itself. But the ruins tell a different story than what Franco wanted. Today, it's not the power of the government that impresses, but the huge human cost of the war. The physical destruction was frozen, but its meaning keeps changing. Every generation that visits this place understands its silent message in a new way. Because the sad events of the past should never disappear in a cold story of power. They live on in the stones and ask us to never forget. When the guns fell silent, peace didn't follow the quiet. Instead, a new kind of unease settled in. Over time, stories grew. Belchite became a spooky place, a place that seemed to echo with sounds not from this world. People talk about voices without bodies in the wind, drifting through the empty window frames. A whisper, a cry that mixes with the howling Kerzo wind. These are the voices of those who never truly left. Visitors report a deep, strange feeling of discomfort that covers them like a shroud. A heavy, strong sadness that has soaked deep into the stone and dust over many decades. There are tales of strange lights in the ruins and footsteps on rubble-covered ground where no one walks. Sounds that suggest someone is there, even when there's only emptiness. This naturally led to modern ghost hunts. Researchers come with sensitive equipment to record EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, captured in the absolute silence of the night. When recordings are played back later, carefully, words sometimes pop out of the static. Answers to questions asked into thin air, from voices no one heard on site. Some of these recordings have become famous. The ghostly echo of a bomb explosion, followed by a clear, whispering voice forming the word Salida. Exit. A last, desperate thought. The locals rarely talk about ghosts. They use a different word. Penas. Sorrows, worries. A deep-seated pain that clings to this place and just won't go away. So, facts and legends become mixed together. Where history ends, human imagination fills the shadows with meaning and the silence with voices. These stories are more than just scary tales. They are the folk stories of a shared trauma, a desperate attempt to make sense of the deafening silence of death. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, it doesn't really matter. The strong feeling this place gives you is undeniable. You feel the weight of the past in every single breath. The sheer amount of suffering goes beyond just history. It enters a deeper, almost spiritual level, where pain takes on its own, almost living form. The legends give a voice to the silence. They are a monument to the thousands whose lives ended here suddenly and brutally, whose cries have long faded away. But it's also a reminder. The appeal of the paranormal, as captivating as it may be, must never overshadow the real historical tragedy and the immense human suffering that is its source. Perhaps we understand Belchite best when we do both. Listen to the proven facts, and then stand respectfully in the silence to hear the echoes in our own way. Belchite is a reminder of darkness. Would you enter these ruins at night? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching Forgotten Worlds. If this documentary moved you, leave a like and subscribe. Until next time, in another Forgotten World.